What is going on, YouTube? We've got my Week 13 NFL Vegas picks here. For those of you that do not know, this video is typically uploaded every week on my Patreon. That is patreon.com/ThatFranchiseGuy. All of my amazing supporters there on Patreon get exclusive access to this video every week, other than the first of each month, which I think this year we are going to have one more of these picks videos here on YouTube. But if you want access the rest of the season, especially if you're a gambling folk out there, head over there and check it out. You'll support my channel in the process, and I appreciate you in advance. Also, please do hit that like button, and let's go ahead and get started. So last week, week 12, we've been kind of battling to get back to 500 here. Started hot, cooled off. Now we've been kind of slowly creeping back. This has been my worst season so far, but in what's been, I think we all can agree, a really wild year, a lot of crazy, unexpected results. To be 500 is really something I'm not afraid to admit. Most people don't even show their records. So we're back to 500, hoping a good slate of picks here that I feel really good about can get us back over 500, and that's on Bet the Spread. You know, we're picking over 66% as far as overall win-loss. But Dallas at New Orleans is our first game here tonight, and everything would lean towards Dallas should win this game pretty convincingly, right? New Orleans is super beat up. We're still waiting to hear like the two tackles and Alvin Kamara. That's kind of the triangle of their offense, right? With Armstead, Ramczyk, Kamara. That's definitely important, and I will say, just as we sit here today, if those three guys go and end up playing fully healthy, I actually could see New Orleans hanging pretty close in this one, and who knows, maybe something weird happens in the fourth quarter, just like we saw with Dallas last week, just maybe random penalties or something. I could see New Orleans maybe squeaking this thing out, but Dallas is healthy. They're getting their receivers back. They're going to be pretty pissed off after what happened to them last week. They are a team that can run the ball, but I do think New Orleans defense matches up really well. They're going to be able to man up these receivers, which is not something Dallas is used to. Most defenses can't do that, but New Orleans has a really nice man match defense that can get after the quarterback a little bit. So I do think this could actually be a little bit closer than expected. Wouldn't be surprised if Dallas ends up winning convincingly, though, barring what happens with those injuries. So I am going to pick Dallas to win this game, but 27-21, no cover on this one. But I am going to include them in a 3-team 7-point teaser, so you can tease those 6 points down to the point where Dallas just needs to win this game, and then it's actually our next two games are going to be included in that teaser. So Minnesota at Detroit, this one's a little bit more straightforward. Minnesota's playing good football right now, man. Now they've lost a close game last week, won a close game the week before. I still think every game they've played has been within a score. I think last week was an 8-point loss, right? I think this is the first time this season that is not a 1-point loss. Now, they had to come back and barely beat Detroit earlier on in the season, but I think Minnesota's playing much better football now than they were, and Detroit, frankly, is playing worse football now than they were at the start of the season. I see Detroit having a really hard time moving the ball on this one. Maybe a garbage time, backdoor cover type of deal is at risk with that 7-point spread. But Kirk's playing well. Justin Jefferson is playing like the best receiver in the NFL right now. So we're going to go Minnesota 30-20. That might even be a little bit high. But again, they are going to be the second leg of this 7-point 3-team teaser. So they just need to win this game as well. And then the last leg here, Arizona at Chicago. We're going to take Arizona to win this one. Kyler Murray should be back. Obviously, if Kyler doesn't go, I would say don't bet this, but coming off the bye, I think all indications are that he's going to play. So I guess keep an eye on that. Confirm that before you put your money on this thing. But yeah, we're going to go Arizona to win this game with a 0.5 point in this 3-team 7-point teaser. We've had a lot of success with bets like this season. And I don't think this is going to be a shootout. Most Bears games aren't. I think the Bears defense is playing surprisingly well. I think Robert Quinn can keep Kyler in the pocket, and I don't think we're going to see a huge game from Kyler Murray. But inversely, Arizona's defense is getting healthy and playing really good right now. Chandler Jones kind of back last week, which is a difference maker for this defense. So I like Arizona to win this one. It could be a little ugly. You might have to sweat it out. Winning in Chicago in December is never easy, especially for a team that I wouldn't describe Arizona as a cold weather football team. So it could be interesting, but I feel good about Arizona winning ultimately. Okay, Tampa Bay at Atlanta. Originally, I had Tampa Bay to cover this spread to slaughter the Falcons, but the Falcons have really just kind of pissed me off this year. Every time I bet against them, they play a good game. Every time I bet on them, they play a really crappy game. Matt Ryan has actually been the opposite of what you would think this year. He's actually been very hit or miss. He's had some really good games. He's had some of the worst games on the season for any quarterback. So hard to know what you're going to get from the Falcons. Tampa clearly outmatches Atlanta, but this is a division game at home for Atlanta. It could be a little bit closer than you think. 11 points is a lot, but Tampa should take care of business here. So we're going to go 30-24 Tampa Bay. Indianapolis at Houston. This might be my favorite bet of the week, and that's scary when you're looking at a 10-point spread. But one thing I really look for in a team coming off a loss is, do they have the ability to really run the ball? Because if you're coming off a loss, if you're playing pissed off, I think that gives you an extra advantage if you're a running team as opposed to being a passing team that's more technical, mental stuff. Whereas run the ball, it's they're going to come out pissed off. Defense is going to be playing pissed off based on what happened last week. They're going to tee off against this Texans offense that was just so impossible to watch against the Jets last week. Indianapolis actually plays a lot similarly to the way the Jets defense plays. So I really like the Colts to come out, just run the ball all over the Colts. Jonathan Taylor have 200 yards of offense, and the Texans not to be able to move the ball. I think the Colts cover this 10 points. I think this game's over by the third quarter, and I'm not even that afraid of a backdoor cover from Houston because it's not like they have a good passing game. So I like Indianapolis a lot this week on the spread, 10 points. And then Philadelphia at the New York Jets. This is suicide right here. But for the second week in a row, I am going to pick the Jets to win. Last week, it was actually a play for me to beat the Texans. Now a different test here against a better Eagles team. But, I'm not going to say bet upset on this one. I think that's just dumb. It's still the Jets. But when I look at this game, 7-point spread for the Eagles the Eagles are a very run-dependent offense, which has been exposed all season. The Jets can defend the run, man. They have a dominant front. I love the way these linebackers are playing right now. I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to have a good day in this one. Now, Zach Wilson's kind of the ultimate wild card here. You don't know what you're going to get from him game to game and play to play. So that's why I say betting on the Jets to win is scary here. But I'm pretty comfortable saying bet the under on this game at 45 points. I don't see either team having a lot of success offensively. And I'm even going to throw bet the spread in there. Now, I'm not saying, the reason I light certain things in green is those are my plays where I'm actually advising the gambling people to put their money on. But if you don't like my opinion on that Colts game, and you're leaning towards Jets here, I would just say, if you're thinking about the Jets, I like that pick, and I'm going to throw it on my record as a bet the spread, if that makes sense. That's kind of how this works for the people that aren't used to how this video goes. Then we have Chargers at Bengals, and I previewed this game with the Guilty as Charged podcast. I think it's telling that both of those guys thought that the Bengals really matched up well with the Chargers, and I agree. I think the way the Bengals are running the ball is a method that has really been able to expose the Chargers. They've really struggled with those run-heavy teams. And it's not that the Bengals are run-heavy, but they are effective in their run game. And they're becoming more run-heavy as we get later into the season. So that's just an initial tick towards Cincinnati. I am interested to see if they slide Trey Hendrickson over to match up on Storm Norton. That's another thing I brought up in the podcast is Trey Hendrickson has only played 5 out of 800 snaps on the left side of the line. So maybe he's not comfortable there, but putting your best pass rusher on Storm Norton as opposed to the rookie there, Rashawn Slater, is favorable for the Bengals. But maybe you see Sample or the Ohio State kid, Hubbard, have a good game over there anyway. But, I like the Bengals defense right now. I think they're playing well. Burrow and Herbert, it's a pretty even quarterback matchup, but you got the Bengals at home here. Just a 3-point spread. If this was any higher, I probably wouldn't make it a play, but I am. I'm going to say bet on the Bengals. The last note that I want to get out here is that the Chargers run that quarters heavy defense that forces you to take the underneath stuff. And I think Joe Burrow is very happy and very comfortable doing that. The Chargers also invite teams to run the ball on them. So I think the Bengals, just the way they match up in this game, is really unfavorable for the Chargers, and they're at home. So I like the Bengals in this one. Probably my second favorite bet of the week right there, 26-21, and one of the best games of the week. I'm really sad that this was not flexed to Sunday Night Football. Giants at Dolphins. I feel pretty strongly that the Dolphins win this game. The problem is 4 points is a scary number for the Dolphins that I'm always worried about them getting in low-scoring games, because I think that's kind of what Brian Flores wants to do, and it's certainly what happens when you're not a very good football team. But the Dolphins are playing really good defense. I think they suffocate Daniel Jones and these guys. I think that the Dolphins are going to be happy, I guess, in this one, that they're not under constant pressure. The Giants have one of the worst anemic pass rushes in the NFL, so Tua could actually get a little bit of time to throw in this one. But at the same time, I think the Giants secondary can kind of put the cover on top of Jalen Waddle and force the Dolphins offense to not have the best day. So I do think the Dolphins find a way to win this game at home. They're heating up. They got playoffs on their mind, whereas the Giants, there's nothing there. So I will take the Dolphins to win. I would lean towards saying bet the spread, but I'm not comfortable enough to advise that, just because the Dolphins have been really a mess this season, as have the Giants. Then Washington at Las Vegas. This is an interesting game. We got the Raiders at home as 2.5-point favorites. So Vegas saying that these two teams are actually pretty evenly matched, and I find that fascinating. I'm actually going to take Washington in this one, 24-21. I don't feel super good about that. I'm not saying bet on them. I'm not saying bet an upset here, though it might not be a bad bet if you really like that. But what I do like here is the under 49.5 points. Washington has not gone over 49.5 points since week 5. Their defense is playing better. You're risking coverage busts with them, but other than that, they've played a pretty sound quarters-heavy defense, and I don't think the Raiders are going to go off. And even if they do, you're not guaranteed that Washington's offense can keep up enough to get 49.5 points in this one. So the results could really go either way. I'm going to throw my dart at Washington here, but I do like that under 49.5 points is actually a play this week. Making unders a play is not the most exciting thing, but I do think it's a really good value with where that number is right now. Jacksonville at the Rams. Rams are 13-point favorites. This is another team that's they're going to be playing pissed off. I can't possibly imagine the Rams losing a 4th straight against Urban Meyer at home. 13 points is a lot with how Matthew Stafford is playing right now. If I had to risk it, I would say Stafford plays a really good, clean game and they roll. But I do want to see Stafford actually play like a good quarterback before I bet on them. So I'm going to pick them to win 31-14, but I'm going to stay away until I can see Stafford kind of get hot. But I do think this is an opportunity for the Rams to kind of get right, and they should be able to clean up against the Jags. Baltimore at Pittsburgh. I want to make some Ravens fans upset here because I'm actually going to take the Steelers, and it's not like I don't acknowledge that the Steelers offense is anemic right now and super difficult to watch and how bad Big Ben has been. But while everybody has been busy trashing the Steelers offense, the Ravens offense has simultaneously been as bad, if not worse. So you're really looking at this game okay, this is going to be a physical December cold weather, AFC North 1960s style battle. And with the Steelers at home, I think they're going to be playing really with a chip on their shoulder in this game. And I think 4.5 points is too many. And I actually, on a gut feel of sorts, think the Steelers will win this game. I think they run the ball better than Baltimore ultimately. Obviously, there's the Lamar Jackson factor, but the Steelers are very well equipped to defend that read option. They've seen it a million times. They have incredible athletes on the perimeter. So I think they're going to force Baltimore to run it inside, feed, Devonta Freeman into Cam Hayward and all those guys on the inside that are balling out right now. I think Baltimore struggles offensively, and I think the Steelers also struggle offensively, but they also have the ability to beat Baltimore's blitz with these really electric receivers that they have. So I like the Steelers to win this one. I'm going to pick them on the bet upset. I'm going to have them as a bet spread. Not going to make it a play because the Steelers, just as I leaded with, are so terrible offensively. It's not my favorite bet of the week, but I do like it for sure. So Steelers 24-20, and that might even be too high for the actual end result of this game. San Francisco at Seattle. Gut feel here, I'm just going to go with Seattle. San Fran playing without Debo, who's been the identity of their offense. I don't want to doubt Kyle Shanahan's ability to find other ways to move the ball here, but that really has been their offense, is just Debo. I think Seattle's defense is quietly playing very well right now. It's been overshadowed by Russell really struggling to come back from that finger injury. I'm just going to pick Seattle on a hunch here. No pick or no bet on this thing. But Seattle's at home, and I think Russ is getting better every week since he came back. You're getting the better quarterback, you would think. So 23-21, Seattle wins. Denver at Kansas City, 9.5 point spread here on Sunday Night Football. Denver's been a difficult team to pick this year. They've had terrible losses. They've had really impressive wins. And that scares me enough to say I'm not going to bet on Kansas City to cover. I think Kansas City's playing really good football. I think they're heating up. I think they have, the Super Bowl on their mind and know what it takes to get there because they're experienced. They have Patrick Mahomes and Reed and all of it. So I think the Chiefs win, but under the spread there, 26-20, and I also like under 47 points. I think that Denver runs that quarters defense that has given Patrick Mahomes fits. I could see Mahomes going back to struggling a little bit in this game. I think it's somewhere between what we saw in the first 6 weeks of the season and what he's been doing lately. And then I think Kansas City's defense is underrated right now. So I actually really like under 47 in this one. If you need a Sunday night bet, that would be my play right there. But I'm not going to make it a play on the week as a whole. And then New England at Buffalo. I'm going to pick the Patriots in the upset in this one. 23-20. I love the way New England matches up against Buffalo. And there's a couple reasons for that. Number one is this is a cold weather Buffalo game. And the team with the better line play and the better run game is going to benefit in those situations, and that is New England. I also think Buffalo is a team that you can run on. New England is not so much a team that you can run on. Even though Tennessee had some explosive runs last week, they're still the Patriots. They know how to defend the run and do it very well. The other thing is Bill Belichick is really good against quarterbacks that I would just describe as being players that don't have super fast processing. We saw it earlier with Justin Herbert, Sam Darnold. He always shreds rookies, for example. If you are late to get to your second progression, well, Bill Belichick's going to slam down on your first read. And he's just very good against quarterbacks like Josh Allen. Now, obviously, I'm not saying Josh Allen is as bad as those guys. He's amazing. He's going to make some plays in this game. But if he's going to struggle, it's going to be in a situation like this against this Patriots defense and Bill Belichick. So I don't think the Bills' offense lights it up. And I think the Patriots, with their ability to run the ball, no Tre'Davious White in this game. Mac Jones is playing great football. I think he can pass the ball a little bit on this group and sneak out with a big upset that I think would give them the crown in the AFC East. So there are the Week 13 picks. I'm really excited about this slate of games. As I mentioned at the start, I'm creeping back towards 500 here, and I want to get over that. So hopefully you can do that this week. Again, check out my Patreon if you want access to this video every week. That's patreon.com/ThatFranchiseGuy. Really appreciate your support regardless, and we'll see you tomorrow for Studs and Duds. Peace out, everybody.